Hey everybody, Danny here, and today I wanted to talk about console gaming versus PC gaming and why I prefer console gaming, but we'll get to that a little later. This one's going to be a little different from my other videos because I'm not going to make a bunch of short recordings and then, split them up or just place them in the right order and all that stuff. I'm going to mainly just talk with like one long recording or possibly multiple long recordings, but basically it won't be, you know what I mean. Anyway, and I'll just say right now that this will be from my point of view and my perspective and everything when it comes to console gaming versus PC gaming. And when I say console gaming, I'm also including handhelds, but PC gaming is just like on computers and, well, obviously. And while I haven't really watched at this point in time a lot of console versus PC gaming videos, I've seen probably very few of them, but I'm sure there's plenty. I'm just guessing there's probably plenty of videos talking about this kind of thing. So if I happen to say things that just sound like every other video talking about this kind of stuff, it's just coincidental because I don't remember everything and I don't know everything about these types of things. So I'll be talking about this from my point of view, and by the end talk about why I prefer console gaming to PC gaming, and I'll try to talk about both the positives and the negatives of both of them, again from my perspective and in my opinion and stuff like that. Now, growing up, I did a lot more console gaming. I still do a lot more console gaming, like I said, but I'm sure I have a bit of a bias there because I have done way more console gaming than I have PC gaming growing up. But I did a little bit of playing games on PC, but they were, back in the day, it was mostly simple, point and click type of games, or if I play Frogger or something on the PC where we're using the keyboard was a lot more simple. But ever since 2022, about roughly mid-2022, I started a Steam library because I eventually got a PC that could run these games a lot better, and so I started a Steam collection. It's not huge. I've got quite a bit of games, but most of them were free or on huge discounts. But I do have some games on there that I also have on console, and I'll just get to the point. While I prefer console gaming, I will say that PC gaming can be the best place to play games for a number of reasons. One thing is that say you play online games, which I don't really, but I don't normally, at least not on PC, but I don't play a whole lot of online games. But basically, playing online on PC, depending on the game, but most of it is free. You don't need, on Xbox, you need Xbox Live, or well, now it's Game Pass Core, but, Xbox Online, whatever you want to call it. But, for a long time it was Xbox Live. You had to pay for that. PlayStation Plus, on PS3 was the last console. Okay, well, Vita probably is the last console to do this, but in terms of home consoles, PS3 was the last one to have free online, but from the PS4 onward, you had to pay for PlayStation Plus. It did improve. The online did improve, so it kind of justifies that price, but it's still a shame that it still kind of sucks that you have to pay for it when PS3 didn't. Anyway, when it comes to PC, it's all free. Again, it depends on the game, but a majority of the time, it's free. You don't need an online subscription or anything like that. So that's beneficial. There's also a lot more you can do with graphical power and all that stuff. For these new AAA games, if you have the right chips and stuff, you can make it look incredible. You can make it run incredible. It's amazing. You can also play a lot more emulation, if say you get into emulating games, say you got these games that okay. You look at games today from consoles like Super Nintendo, N64, PlayStation, all that stuff, and a lot of them can be very expensive. Not all. There's some that are affordable, but a lot of them, trying to get them on original hardware, it can be really expensive. Whereas on PC, you can emulate it. There's also emulators that you can put on the actual consoles, but you might need a computer to do that anyway. If you want to play this like all in one package, a PC, a computer is the right way to go, or is a really good way to go, a really convenient way to go, and you can do it for free. And while I will not say where to go in this video, just for various reasons, if you want to emulate, it's really great to go on PC and be able to play these games. Now, the quality of the games can vary, but as we move on in time, there's been a lot of good emulators, improved emulators from back in the day. And so playing these older games that cost a lot, if you wanted to try them out, that's a really good PC's a really good place to go. But in terms of official stuff, not official stuff, but not just official stuff, but say there's these games that when it comes to online, going back to the online thing, when it comes to playing games that require being online, which I've discussed, I don't really like playing online only games, but eventually when the servers go down, you can't play them officially, you can't play them online anymore, you can't play these games anymore because the servers are shut down. And on console, you're kind of screwed if you're there, but on PC, it kind of varies with the games. On PC, there have been people that have been able to have private servers to where you can go on those and play online that way. And again, it's not going to be the exact same, but people have found ways on PC to be able to play these quote-unquote dead games, bring them back to life in some way. And that's pretty cool. So PC gaming, there's a lot of benefits to playing PC. And like I said, it can be the best place to play games. But the key word is it can be the best place to play games. Okay, so I was about to move on, but one thing I forgot to discuss about PC, another significant thing about playing games on PC, are mods. Not every game is easy to mod, but there are a lot of games you can mod when playing on PC, to where you can make it the way you want to. You can kind of redesign certain things, characters, certain locations maybe. I mean, again, it all depends on the game, but the modding scene is really big on PC, whereas on console if it's possible at all, it's extremely hard to do, I've seen modding on console games before, but obviously a mass majority of it is on PC. It can be really cool to do all that, go on, a famous one was Skyrim, the back in the day, the whole Thomas the Tank Engine character stuff, Dragon or whatever, or some other types of things. So that's pretty cool. And I mean, there's even official mods on Steam, for certain games. You go to Workshop and you can see certain things, certain mods that people have added that you can download basically officially. And as a Sonic fan, another thing I'd like to add is that there's a ton of really good Sonic mods and Sonic fan games that back in my day, a lot of the Sonic fan games were just Flash games, but there's been a ton of Sonic games that are still being worked on. Some of them still being worked on, where you can fan-made games, maybe fan remakes of certain games or completely original games. And with the exception of one that I know of, all of them are free, which should always be the case with fan games. But yeah, so that's pretty cool. If you're a Sonic fan and you want to try these fan games, I mean, there's some that put some Sonic Team games to shame. So officially made games that you have to pay for. Yeah, so that's really cool about PC gaming. But while it can be the best place to play games, it comes at a cost. It can come at a really big cost, because you have to know how to set things up, and you have to buy the right parts, and that can really add up. You have to spend a lot of money to buy a lot of the good parts for PC, depending on what you want to do, and you have to know how to do all this stuff, and it can take a lot of time also. You want to play one of the latest games in RTX, which is the current big thing around RTX whatever. I don't know all the details on that, but you have to know how to set it up. If you want to mod a certain game, if you know, with all these mods and stuff, you have to know how to set it up. And again, if you want them to look great, if you want to have the top of the line stuff, you have to buy the right like parts, and that can cost you a lot to do that. When it comes to me, if there's a lot to deal with, if there's a lot of knowledge thrown at me at once, like things I have to know or have to memorize, I kind of shut down, in all honesty. If there's a lot at once, I have to kind of learn things over time. But like with PC gaming, like again, if you want it to look great and like run great, you have to know what to do. You have to know what to do to set all that up. So like for me, like a lot of PC games I have, like on Steam and stuff, they run fine. They run fine enough. I mean, I've got the parts. Like I bought this PC off of my brother, and he has the parts all set up. And if it was me trying to set it all up, I'd absolutely need a lot of help. And like I'm not like technologically stupid. I'm not like stupid when it comes to technology, but I'm also not smart when it comes to technology either. I'm somewhere in between that, which can be kind of annoying. But yeah, you have to know all this stuff. Like there's random games I have on Steam where at one point they worked, and then randomly they just didn't want to work anymore, or they didn't want to work the same as they want to. Like there's some graphical glitches here and there randomly, and like some games, like I switched over to a different TV as a monitor, and it was like, oh, you switched it, you can't play it, and I had no idea how to fix it. And one thing is that because of how many options there are, I'm afraid that like I don't know everything about coding. I know almost nothing about coding. It's like one of those things where like you fix one problem, you can potentially create another problem or multiple other problems. And I'm afraid to change certain settings or to experiment with certain things, because I'm afraid that like it's gonna break something or well, you know what I mean, like cause something else, cause some other problems that I'd need, you know, like cause a bigger problem than what I've already been having. Like an example is that like Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy on PC, for a while it was working for me, and then out of nowhere, or seemingly out of nowhere, it just stopped working, and I don't know what I did differently to cause that, but I'm afraid to experiment around too much with it, because I'm afraid I'm going to cause an even bigger issue than what it was already there. Like that's one problem you have to deal with on PC, is that like when you experiment around with settings, you're going to have to expect that a possible more problems to come up. If you're trying to fix one problem, you may cause another one, or even more, or even bigger problems. And again, you have to know what you're doing to fix this stuff. And like there are certain games I've gotten where like I figured, oh well, it's going to run great on PC, and it ends up running worse than it was on my consoles. And again, I don't know how to fix it, and I don't know what I did differently or why it's like that. You know, there are some games that like some developers just didn't make very well on PC, which usually the PC version is better, but like there are some cases where it isn't. It's all so overwhelming basically for me. For someone like me, it's very overwhelming. There are people who know how to deal with all this stuff, but like they've had to learn also. They've also had to learn all this stuff. Like people who make these mods for these games, they had to learn all that. And like when it comes to modding, see, I was getting some of these games that I know have a lot of mods, or that you can put a lot of mods into, and I was like, oh cool, you know, like I get Sonic Adventure 1, and I'd be like, hey, I can swap him out for Shadow, you know, or you know, have the skin swap for Sonic and put Shadow there, and like, you know, you can change the scenery in some ways. But then when I realized what all you had to do to deal with all that, it just didn't seem like it was worth it, because like I wouldn't be putting Shadow in the game to save my life or whatever, or do something important. I was just doing it just as a goof, just for fun. But I don't want to have to go through all this whole process just to get that going. Again, I would be worried about potentially messing something up. I don't know, like if you like modding, cool, and if you know how to do it, cool. But like if you don't know, it can be risky. Some mods are actually kind of risky in that way, but like, again, trying to set everything up to get a game working properly on PC. Most Steam games work, but it still depends on the parts you have and the settings you have, and it can get a little confusing and a little overwhelming. And like I said, it can be very costly. Like I've known some people who will get the top of the line stuff, or I've known about people who have gotten the top of the line stuff for PC, and it's costed them like around like $1,000 or $2,000 or more. And that's honestly that's a bit too much just to play games like the top of the line games and stuff at like the top settings. Because like as much as I love playing video games, that's way too much. Like unless these parts unless spending that much guarantees that your computer will last like 10 or 20 years and will still be really great all that time, and it can do just about anything you want it to, then sure, it might be worth it to me. But like otherwise, it's really not worth that much money just for the top of the line stuff. I know there's some people that don't get the top of the line stuff, but they can still get stuff that looks better than on console that costs a little less, but you're still spending a lot of money to do that. Now, finally going over to console gaming, both home and portable. Well, obviously it's a lot more limited than a PC. Like basically game consoles are just lesser PCs in a way, or lesser computers. But while it's a lot more limited on what you can do on console, it's also a lot more straightforward, to the point, and it's a lot cheaper overall. So basically, if you want a game and you buy a game for a console, you don't have to worry about if your console is optimized for it or not. Like it'll depend on the developer. Like you don't have to worry about having the right parts or anything like that. Some games it kind of varies, but like a majority of the time, if you get a game on a console, you don't have to worry about that stuff. It's just that. Like on newer consoles, you may have to update it and install it, but other than that, it's straight to the point. The game will work the way it's going to work, for better or for worse, on console. And going back to the price, well, I mean, there are some expensive game systems, like when the PS5 and Xbox Series X first came out, altogether they were between $400 and $600. Well, okay, between $300 and $600 because the Xbox Series S, but the true next gen Xbox is the Series X at this point in time, and the PS5, you have the digital only one for $400 and the one where you can put discs in it for $500. But like those are still a lot cheaper than getting the best stuff for PC, because like I said earlier, you might have to spend like a couple $1,000s or more to get the top of the line stuff on PC, whereas on console, it's compared to $2,000, that's a quarter of the price for the PS5 with the disc drive. Obviously I'm not including tax in that, but like again, it can be expensive still, but like it's still a lot cheaper than getting stuff on PC if you want to get the best parts on PC. And when it comes to portable stuff, it has the benefit of being portable, but so do laptops. But again, portable game systems are a lot cheaper than getting portable computers. And going back to setting up the games and the system and all that stuff, again, it's a lot more straightforward, and generally speaking, the games are usually optimized for these systems. If they're not, that's on the developers, whereas on PC, it might be on both the developers and your PC. So you don't have to worry as much about that when playing them on console. And when it comes to like setting things up, the only thing on newer systems you might have to set up is like, or you might have to buy extra to get more, is like, when you want more space on your game system, basically, a lot of these game systems come with like a terabyte of okay, the Xbox Series X and the PS5 both came with around a terabyte of space, which some of that is taken up by some of the stuff in the game system, so technically it's a little less than that. And if you're just playing a couple of games, that's good enough, but like if you're playing bigger games and you want to play more of them, you'll have to buy some extra parts, like extra space for those games to be able to fit all that in one thing. And that's the only other thing you really have to, which can be a little expensive, but like this is stuff you might have to also do on PC anyway, in addition to getting the parts to have them run well, of having these games run well. And it's a whole lot less stressful to set up. Still will cost you a little bit, but not nearly as much as on PC. And it's very beneficial for someone who doesn't want to be overwhelmed with settings and having to spend a lot more money. And again, though, consoles are limited. Like, you can't play a bunch of the fan games outside of hacking them. You can't play, like, you can't mod your games very easily, or nearly as much as you can on PC. And you can't do a whole lot of experimenting on stuff. And I mean, a lot of this stuff you could probably do within hacking, but like, it's a lot easier on PC basically than on console to do a lot of that stuff. So consoles are more limited. So where am I going with all this? Well, basically, what I think is that if you prefer to like play fan games or experiment around with games, and you're willing to put in the time, effort, and money into setting all this stuff up, then go with PC gaming, because like I said, it can be the best place to play these games. But if you want to save money and you just want to play a game as it is, you don't have to worry about settings or anything, and you want it to be a lot more straightforward in setting everything up, then go with console gaming. And like I said earlier, I get a little overwhelmed with the settings on how to set things up for games, and I don't want to spend a whole lot of money just to get the best experience. So I majority of the time I go with console gaming. There are certain games I still play on PC, but those are mostly ones that like where you can use the mouse, and well, that's another thing, is that like I cannot get used to keyboard and mouse gameplay. I don't mind the mouse, it's the keyboard part. Memorizing the buttons you have to press for certain games that like versus playing with a regular controller on console. I mean, I usually go with the controller. Now, obviously, there are a lot of games on PC you can use controllers like on console on the PC, but I'm talking in general. Like, if you want to do keyboard and mouse, the ones that may still kind of require keyboard and mouse, I don't like that. So that's why I am still mostly a console gamer. Again, though, like, there are certain games on PC that I like to play on PC versus on console if they're even on console, but those are usually the ones where they're mouse friendly, or the ones that feel like they need a mouse, like a point and click type of thing. If they were on the Switch where you could use touchscreen controls, and yeah, I would do that too. Like when I play People Playground, you know, as of right now, it's only on PC, which you can also play it on Steam Deck. But it's a lot better to play it on PC. Anyway, like if they put it on PS5 and Series X, yeah, it wouldn't go over too well with regular controls. Like if it was like VR, sure, but like you know, it wouldn't work out too well. On the Switch, you could use as long as you could use the touchscreen controls, I wouldn't mind it. Otherwise, when it comes to games overall, I prefer console because it's a lot more straightforward, cheaper, and all that stuff that I've repeated myself on a lot. But of course, this is all from my perspective, and I'm mostly talking about my opinions. But what do you all prefer? Let me know in the comments if you prefer PC gaming, console gaming, or anything like that, or do you just do both depending on the game? And I thank you for watching, or probably listening. I don't know if I put up any visual things. I'm just doing the recordings right now, so I have no clue if I decided to put any kind of visuals up, like other than just like maybe some kind of background. But yeah, like I said, let me know in the comments what you think, and if you like this video, go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to see more videos like this, or just any of my videos in general, then go ahead and subscribe. And again, thank you for watching. Hope you have yourself a good day.